People of Tomorrow, we have our 2023 theme and lineup, and tickets are officially sold out for Tomorrowland Belgium 2023, which is not surprising at all, but crazy. Tomorrowland has always been a bucket list festival for me, and unfortunately, I will not be attending this year. However, fingers crossed, I will be going in 2024 for the first time, but after years and years of watching the live streams, doing all kinds of research, watching documentaries, doing interviews on my podcast with Tomorrowland guests, I wanted to put together a video for you guys going over the 13 different stages of Tomorrowland Belgium. So you guys asked for some information on this festival, so I decided to split this up in two parts. Part one, we're going to talk about the stages, the designs, the music that is at each of them, and in part two, I'm doing a full deep dive on the lineup, and I'll give you guys tons of artist recommendations. So let's start out with part one, the stages. So to get started, Tomorrowland 2023 announced that their theme is Ascendo, which is a magnificent tale in the history of Tomorrowland. We don't have too much information out just yet. There was a virtual show with a bunch of sets that just came out this past weekend, but for the first time ever, Tomorrowland is actually going to be selling a fantasy book that tells the entire history and origin story and all of the characters that inspired this theme. So that is on sale on their website if you guys are interested. But for any of you guys who are beginners or don't know much about Tomorrowland, every year the main stage design will be different to reflect the theme. So we will be getting a new main stage design, and I'm very excited to see what that's going to look like. But let's kick things off there. According to the lineup, there are going to be 13 different stages this year at Tomorrowland. Number one, obviously the most iconic, is the main stage design. So again, we don't know what this will look like yet, but in years past, it is the biggest stage, it's the most grandiose, it is the focal point of the festival. A lot of the live streams that you guys have seen, YouTube videos, all of that usually focuses on the main stage design. At main stage, they also have these little breaks in between sets where, especially when it transitions from day to night, they'll have like all of these performers come out and, have different music, and it'll be like an introduction to the next artist. So they do a lot of that really cool stuff at the main stage. But for me, the day I finally get to see the size and the design and the innovation in person is going to be crazy. So that is main stage. Then we have the library stage. This is also one of the biggest stages at Tomorrowland. This one is decorated by all of these different giant books throughout. So it's a pretty wide stage. It's very, very large. The music here is typically Future House, Big Room, and Hardstyle. There's different takeovers from different labels, so it depends on the day. But I would say that this is definitely going to be one of your bigger secondary main stages. Okay, moving on to the Freedom stage. Also, sorry guys if my voice is very raspy. I have COVID right now and I'm just getting over it, so I'm still a little bit sick. But the Freedom stage has always been at the top of my bucket list. It just has looked like the most beautiful, intricate, insane designs with the most beautiful LED screens, and Eric Prydz always plays here. A lot of my favorite artists play here, so I know his Hollow show is going to be here this year. That is an absolute cannot miss, you guys. Like, the visuals that you're going to experience inside the stage are going to be crazy. So notable things about Freedom Stage: it is indoors, there is a roof, it's fully covered, they have these massive LED screens, crazy lighting. Last year in particular, they had these really big giant butterflies that were hanging from the ceiling. So it just feels very, even though it's a huge stage, intimate, and it's one of the few that are indoors. So I've just really, really liked that aspect of it. Then you have the Atmosphere stage. This is where you go if you love techno. This is the techno massive tent. It is huge. The ceiling is so massive. It's got all of these, last year they had these LED screens that wrapped around the whole thing, and then the lighting shoots off the DJ booth. And again, it just makes the ceiling look so high. I've just seen the craziest lasers and lighting anytime I've watched the live stream. And again, some of the biggest names in techno play here. You do also have some house music. I saw Black Coffee is playing this stage. So crazy. I would personally be spending a lot of time here because I'm very into techno. So I'd be excited about the Atmosphere stage. Then we have Core, which to me is one of the most beautifully designed. It straight up looks like it's out of a fantasy or sci-fi movie. It's this beautiful silhouette of a face looking up in the sky. It's surrounded by a lot of trees and nature and this forest kind of area. So it's very much gives me almost like those like Tulum kind of vibes that you would be thinking of. So it's very like in touch with nature. A lot of like melodic techno and house, really innovative artists are playing here. Tomorrowland on their website describes it as a place to hear the world's best forward-thinking DJs. So really, really serene, kind of grounding energy. Then we have Crystal Garden, which I feel like is a very, very popular stage amongst fans. This one to me, I always think of as the water stage. So if you've ever seen it before, part of it, it's a lot of Tomorrowland is over this like lake, this body of water. So this one is kind of like round, and they have this covering which has like all of these beautiful hanging florals. So that just like looks beautiful, like this massive, almost kind of gazebo looking stage. And then the DJ is at the bottom, and behind them, they have these massive water cannons and steamers. So it's like this wall of water behind the DJ. So between that and like the florals, really, really beautiful stage. And some of my favorite artists have played here. So a lot of house music artists have played here. So I would definitely be spending a lot of time at the Crystal Garden. Then we have the Rose Garden. The Rose Garden is the one that has the dragon. This one to me is one of the most iconic because it's one of the most nostalgic. Like I remember watching the live streams years and years and years ago and just being obsessed with the dragon stage. So again, it's a really cool setting. It feels like a little bit more of an intimate stage, but the dragon is the focal point. The head moves, the eyes open up and close, steam comes out of the mouth. Like it's just a very cool setting. And at this stage, you're also gonna get a mix of genres depending on the label takeover. So you'll be able to pop over here and see something that you like at some point, but I highly recommend going to check it out. Then you have the Harbour House, which is a tiny little house on the edge of the water. It's a very, very cool stage. Good vibes all around, fun performers, a little bit more intimate, kind of like looks like a little theater stage. So very, very cool. And then one of the takeovers here is Radio Ultra Modern, which has been your provider for all things funky, groovy, and quirky, according to Tomorrowland's website. Then we have the Cage stage. So this is where you're going to go if you want underground vibes, if you like dark, intimate, sweaty, like underground warehouse UK vibes. That's what this stage is like. So you get a lot of techno, a lot of heavy techno, rave, industrial, hardcore DJs. That's going to be at the Cage stage. Then we have the Youphoria stage, which is very like whimsical and psychedelic. This is the mushroom stage. So it's got like all these mushrooms surrounding it with the DJ right in the middle. You have a lot of hard dance here. A lot of the bass music takeovers are here. And then there's a trance takeover as well. So hard dance, bass, trance. You got a nice mix of genres. Very funky little stage. Then we have the Rave Cave, which also is very iconic to me. And this one is supposed to be going back to like the roots of raving. It's a like small tunnel that is back to the basics. You've got a DJ and you've got speakers and you've got good vibes. Like that's what this is. There's nothing crazy. You don't need to have a massive stage to have a good time. You can just pop in here and see some like the coolest DJs in the world playing this small tunnel rave. And it's going to be amazing. You don't need all the bells and whistles. Then we have two other stages, which I believe are new because last year they had the Savi stage and they had the Leaf by JBL stage, which were not on the list for this year. So we have Rise and we have Terra Solia. I believe those must be replacing. So I was just kind of popping around on Reddit and it sounds like Rise might be replacing Savi. Otherwise, it might just be a new stage. Savi was a smaller stage design that looked like a shell. It was like beachy / ocean inspired. So no idea if that's just completely gone and Rise is totally new, but we'll see what's in store for Rise. I don't have any photos of that. And then Terra Solis, this was a brand new experience that Tomorrowland launched in the Arabian Dunes, I believe in Dubai. So it was this like really luxurious desert destination that was going to have like music and be this like really cool inclusive takeover. So the fact that they're bringing that to Tomorrowland, some people think that that's going to be replacing the JBL stage, the Leaf stage, which the Leaf stage design kind of looked like an island stage with these like palm trees and this little like tent covering. So that may be replacing that stage. I would assume they'd have a design that would be inspired by this like luxury getaway to the desert with like the sand dunes and everything, but more to come on that, guys. We will see what happens after this year. All right, and then last up, what I wanted to help you guys, I wanted to show you the map from 2022. So this is not the map for this year. This is the map from last year, but just to help you guys with the layout. Again, I did a podcast with 2 of my friends who have gone to Tomorrowland, 2 separate episodes. I will link them up here and down below. But we talked in length about the map and how long it takes to get places. And I remember them saying, obviously, it is a ton of walking at Tomorrowland. You're going to be walking so much. And a couple factors that are going to play into what sets you see is how far apart the stages are. So I'm going to pop up the map here from 2022 so you guys can see. But as you can tell by this structure, where the Dreamville entrance and exit is, that's where the campgrounds are. And then one of the first stages you're going to see is you have the Moose Bar there. I'm not sure what's happening with that. But you have the library, like I mentioned, which is one of the biggest stages. And then Mainstage is right there. So you can see the size of that. A lot of the grounds are dedicated to the main stage. Then the design from there, like I mentioned, you have a lot of different bodies of water. So you have these bridges and walkways that connect. So it's almost like a longer layout rather than like a wider one. So you have to walk across all these walkways to kind of like skip and jump to each of the stages. So you can see like Crystal Garden is at one area, like the Harbour House is at one area, Core is all the way in the back. So when you're planning what you want to go see, you just need to figure out how long it's going to take you to get from like Mainstage to Freedom, which is the complete opposite end. So you're just going to want to figure out how long it's going to take you to walk from like Mainstage to the Freedom stage, which are complete opposite ends. So one thing you want to factor in when you guys get the set times is I'd probably rotate on and off who you want to close the festival with. So if you want to close the festival with like Eric Prydz Hollow show at Freedom, the next night maybe close at Mainstage because it's going to take you way too long to like navigate those walkways at nighttime to run back and forth. Plus, within the last few sets of the night, the crowd is going to get so thick at those stages because so many people are going to be posted up there. You're going to want to pick, okay, like where am I spending the end of my night? Are the stages like kind of near each other? Because I wouldn't be like wasting your time running across the festival. So just wanted to show you guys a little bit about the layout so you kind of have an idea of what that all looks like. But that is everything for part 1 of this series. I hope you guys enjoyed getting a breakdown of the stages. And again, of course, we're going to get new ones this year. So we'll see what changes happen in 2023. In the next video, I am going to be doing a full breakdown of the lineup. So if you guys want help navigating the lineup, figuring out who the heck to see, what the stage hosts are, all that kind of stuff, definitely subscribe so you guys don't miss that video coming out. And other than that, I will see you in my next video. Bye, guys. Fall into you.